Record. Here we go. Is it recording? Great. Okay, now we're going to share the screen. And okay. You guys see the main one or do you see the other one?
The other one.
Oh boy. What do you see? Anything?
We see the PowerPoint,
Okay.
not the slideshow.
Let me try this again. Okay. And now do we have it right?
Yes.
Okay. And
Perfect.
now I got to shut my door. So sorry.
Totally fine, Christy.
I should have thought about me going sooner because the cars start going by and my dogs want to let me know. All right, here we are. So this is
Perfect.
my capstone project, and I'm so excited that we're here, but I'm also a little sad. So I'm shockingly. Okay, so we're going to talk about a few things today. We're going to go through an introduction, talk about growth and insight in character development, and then we're also going to talk about growth and insight and competency development and the desired path for future growth, and then my personal legacy statement. So a little bit about me. I'm an Enneagram 8, INTJ. Leadership and problem solving are in my blood. I entered the EXCC program depleted from a recent exit as a CEO. And when I think about like values, but also how you describe me: strength, resilience, leadership, directness, self-sufficiency, generosity, and a strong sense of justice all define my journey. Over time, but even more so through the program, and we'll talk about this, I've learned the importance of letting others in and in valuing empathy. Part of this process has helped me really embrace both my strengths and limits. And that has enriched my coaching approach. I really realized that, my life and my framework, it makes so much sense, so many of the paths, and this time in the program has been just really pretty restorative, very restorative for me, because I don't think I've done much reflection. I've just gone to the next hard thing. And I honestly felt called to the Townsend Institute program, and I probably shouldn't share this, but I will. I was thinking, I have had some friends with really challenging problems, and I feel like I could be a counselor if I was working with highly traumatized people, if I'd learned like integration and the very specific approaches. And I thought maybe I should do that because I can handle a lot of things. John Townsend has a counseling program. And I looked at it, and this was a year before I left, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a coaching program. So I actually applied as a way to sort of like have something to hold on to step into. And it really was sort of like a beacon and a next step for me. And it's been very restorative for me. Okay, the capstone. So here's how I did this. I didn't think to retake the TPRET. So I was like, I don't know how I can show growth. So I actually did a Google survey, and I explained in that survey, I just defined the 4 character structures: attachment, separation, integration, and adulthood, and asked them to reflect on my growth throughout the program. And I sent it to about 10 people who either I've worked with very closely, like either in a volunteer role, or my family, or close friends that know me well. And so I have some of that as my insight. I reread and reviewed all the papers I completed on character structure. And then I used the Townsend character model and reflected on my own tendencies as an INTJ and an Enneagram 8 to sort of like put those together. And what's interesting is if you'd asked me even a year ago, I would have said I probably won't do much coaching, but I just need to know how to do it when I have to. And I think that was a limitation I put on myself, because if you think about those two, if you get stuck in who your tendencies are, you can think, well, I can't be a coach because an Enneagram 8 and an intuitive thinker, introverted intuitive thinker, is not really that interested in other people. they're interested in their own, self-preservation or help. And I'm, really thinking through those are just boxes, and it's actually not been true. I've really enjoyed coaching. And I know that there's certain clients that are probably better for me than others, but it's very interesting. The other thing I did was review all my coaching assets that I developed, and then I've continued to develop as I've started this business. I listened to several recorded sessions again, and then I went through the ICF competencies, and I determined that framework for competency growth based on that. So attachment. So this is the definition that I put in this survey, and I've actually started using sort of this as a framework when I'm helping people, so that they say, well, send me what you were talking about, that character structure. Instead of saying read people fuel, I now have like these short definitions, and that's been helpful. So attachment is the capacity to be open and vulnerable with others and to elicit vulnerability and trust in others. Attachments is our first and most profound need in the foundation building blocks of character. It requires vulnerability and allowing others and God to see and meet our deepest needs through healthy relationships. So this was where that Enneagram 8 and 9 NTJ tendencies, which may have been how I was born or how it was very easy to be rewarded to be this way. My challenges with healthy attachment. The core belief of an 8 is that you must be strong and powerful to ensure self-protections and regard in all of life. The work of an 8 is to move towards tolerating vulnerability within safe relationships. So basically it's just like attachment, the big glowing lights. And this was my lowest score on the TPRAT. I was not surprised. I always say I have detachment. I don't have attachment, just detachment. And the INTJ prefers to go it alone, have insight, sort through the problem and with logic and step into action without consulting others. The work of the INTJ and my work is to let others into the problem solving and to trust others to work with you. And I think this honestly has been part of my work, is understanding that I can have healthy attachment. And that's probably the biggest insight of this program, is I think there was an idea that was just a deficit that wasn't really possible to change. I mean, I'm 55, like at this point, you can kind of work on it, but that's what I mean about it being restorative. And so then I pulled a quote from, like, people gave feedback without names. And so I pulled a quote. So this is my attachment. This is my proof from someone else. Chrissy has grown deeper in awareness of the concept of attachments and how they are important in her relationships. I see her now working to apply them more consistently, habitually, and subconsciously. Her ability to listen has been enhanced, and that helps people she feels she cares and is attuned to them. I was very proud of some of the quotes, because it's not my. Go ahead. What?
I was just saying that's wonderful, Christy. That's a huge testimony right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think I'm detached anymore. I'll just say that. So in separation boundaries is defined in People Fuel as the capacity to know what is and what is not yours to take care of. Separation is the capacity to be clear about what you are for and against, own your own voice and say no when you need to, and confront effectively. By definition, Enneagram 8s have strong boundaries. They fear being controlled, so they build walls of protections. Before Townsend Institute, I said I had great boundaries, which is true. However, I now recognize the balance of letting people in and trusting them. Enneagram 8s and INTJs often do what is not theirs to do to simply maintain control, which I would have said before was it's just a strong boundary and I'm just really capable. This has been another growth area for me. My work in this area has been more to do with saying no to those things that I'm still trying to control, and yes to letting others in. Just like attachment, healthy separation requires vulnerability. So my this was probably the most relevant to me. There were a lot of things, but the Christy is learning how to let go of mercy and allow the new leadership to take charge, which I can see is so hard when she is such an effective leader who could rescue this ministry that she cares so deeply for. So a big challenge throughout this, without getting into specifics, is that it has not gone very well with me leaving, and I am still on the board. But and by request, I mean, I said I would leave, but they asked for me to just be advisory to the board chair, who is a colleague and has become a really close friend. But I said, I cannot be dealing with the day to day. I really can't. And so she just calls me for advice. And it has been hard because I know that I could fix things, but then I would be complicit with the bigger issues that it would just be me putting a Band-Aid on it. So a lot of growth there. Integration. This is probably the most growth for me. Integration is the ability to hold with a healthy tension, the good and the bad, both within us, what we experience with others, and what we experience in the world around us. This means having the capacity to do well with the negative and difficult aspects of life, such as loss and failure, and adapt to these difficult aspects of life's grieve losses without such self-judgment or entitlement. My growth includes accepting all of my work experiences, interactions, leading to less internal striving and better sleep. I had a lot of like trying to make sense of a lot of really hard things in my work and in trying to make sense of them, boxing them in one way or the other versus just holding it. Working with CEOs and providing non-judgmental space has normalized my own struggles, interestingly enough, and reinforced the idea that one can lean into conflict and still be okay. This acceptance of both my strengths and flaws have been crucial to my own integration journey. And I put this on something already and on a comment, but I think I have this on a sticky, but I'm gonna make it on a sign. I've done great work, been an excellent wife and parent, made countless mistakes, been extremely angry and given unmerited favor, and all of these can be true. So I'm working on sitting with that. Christy is growing in this every day as she holds out hope for certain outcomes, knowing it's up to God and out of her ultimate control. She's continually growing to accept this fact and trust God while pushing to still show love, be a safe place, and continue to live a life of purpose. She seems so at peace with where she has landed with family and career. Not just that, I was like, I love that somebody can see that in me. Okay, adulthood. Adulthood is a concept that describes our ability to be comfortable in our own skin and our relationship with authority and purpose in life. It means we're satisfied with who we are as a person, the roles we have in this world without looking to others to define ourselves. Healthy adulthood has purpose in work and feels God's hand in our lives as we do that work. I've been surprised by the peace I've found in the past 18 months. I've been comfortable in my own skin for a long time. Prior to this, I'm just kind of who I am. That's sort of how I've been most of my life. But purpose has been elusive, specifically with the transition. I've left this role twice and started coaching and consulting. This is round two. Out of a leadership role, the work of a practitioner helping others has brought me great unexpected joy. This joy runs deep and is not tied to success, outcomes, or emotions in the moment. I see how all the character structures roll up into this adulthood. And there's a couple things I wanted to mention that I didn't put on this. One thing is a book called Praying Like Monks, Living Like Fools by Tyler Staton. And he talks about praying, learning to pray from the middle stance. A lot of times we pray from either just desperately begging God, this whole idea, like just this place of like, you have to do, a very Santa Claus in the sky or we pray from, oh, thy will be done, and not really like letting him, like not really expecting anything. And he talks about praying from the middle, which is asking God daily to show me what story he's writing that he wants me to be a part of. And just having that posture change of really stepping out of, because those other two ways, you're sort of the center of the story versus just asking God to open that up. And I've had been very habitual of starting my day like that. And it's really been a posture change that has created a lot of peace. And then the other concept that was so interesting, and it was in a Townsend Institute, one of those town halls, it was one that we were combined with counseling, not this past one, where a counseling student asked this question about adulthood. And it was really like just so I did a little more research. We don't really learn this in consulting and coaching, but the idea that it's not just not being a child, it's that there's 4 ways we show up in relationships: child, adolescent, like raging adolescent, shaming parent, and adult. And I've really been leaning into like all relationships need to be adult. And that's probably the biggest insight for coaching other people, is that people tend to I don't work as many people that are showing up as a child. I definitely work with some people who are raging adolescents. They're just angry. And they're the shaming parent. They're so annoyed with everyone else who, and so it's been, that's was really just, I just wanted to write that in there. And this was the comment. Christy knows exactly who she is. She's developed a clear vision of what God called her to do, and a large part of that is helping others grow in their own authority and purpose. She's in a place where she wants to give to others what she has found for herself. So I do have a little funny thing that I will add is when I asked my family to rate me, I don't think any of my kids, I added them in there, but my husband sent me his own rating, which will be on the next slide. I'll just read it. Food quality, 4 out of 5. Most dishes, great, a few misses. Entertainment, 5. Author offers hilarious wordplay without meaning to. Maintains dog circus. Cleanliness maintenance, 4. Mainly good, but wet towels often found on the closet floor. Water faucets sometimes running or fridge doors open with nobody around. Service, 4 out of 5. This is where she really shines, but sometimes has an attitude. So deducting 0.5. Overall rating, 5 out of 5. Would marry again. So that's my own creativity.
Woo! Yes, I love that.
I every
That
time I
is
read
worth
that,
framing next to the statement that you're planning to put in a plaque.
yeah, yeah, I know. And I sent you like this was the family group text, and every single kid was ha ha ha. That's our family group text. So I put it. I literally put you exactly how I received this after sending out the link for them to anyway. Okay, growth and competencies. I also went through the ICF and just really leaned in. I remembered something like notes that we took, and I was actually able to find them. But the very beginning, I think it was the very first in the residence, they talked about the 3 E's of coaching: engage, explore, evoke. And I don't know that I'd heard them again, but for some reason that rung a bell. And I was like, that's literally like framing all those competencies like this. So really felt like a lot of growth in the agreement, a lot of growth in trust and intimacy. I'm so much more present, probably because I'm not like so disconnected. I have some attachment. I'm not detached. I feel like I have powerful questioning, but it's better because they're shorter. Jill on me, make it as short as possible. And also Lisa, no stacking questions. I'm the queen. I can ask 3 questions in 30 seconds. And then facilitating insight and facilitating growth. I've really grown in this where I like literally have this little thing in my head, 10 minutes till the end. I'm like stopping where we are so that because I don't want to miss that, because that's typically where it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then I did write in my notes, but I didn't put it on the competency. Coach the person, not the problem. That was like this. I was like, and if I could just remember that, I won't lean into being a consultant. That's so easy, right?
It's life-changing. It's getting to the soul of the person. Yeah, no, it was mind-blowing for me too.
Yeah. Also on a sticky. I don't know, these poor people that I'm coaching, gonna be like, hold on, let me read all my stickies. And then, yeah, this is just sort of some other competencies. These are more the brass tacks of it, but I started this in 2018. I had my own theory of change framework, which I'll show you. It's grown. I started this master's program. Decided to do the full master's after I started as a certificate. I rediscovered and aligned current plans with my own executive coaching outline, sort of, as I said, this is 2.0 for me, and I barely got into it last time, and committed to achieving outcomes with an impacts through partnerships with clients. And then the biggest growth for me is letting go of the outcome, just in everything, but with clients. And yeah, I've worked on a theory of change because I thought it would be helpful for me to really use this. And I've added to it as I've gone through, what do I offer? What are my deliverables? What are the results? And then, the desired effects. And so this was just something that it helps me to think like strategically. And it also helps me in like telling people, what are we doing here? Like if they want to know, what do I do? And so a lot of times leaning into deliverables is more like consulting and helpful, but a lot of times what people want to know are what's actually going to happen. And so that's where I've been working on those desired effects: energy management, flourishing as a leader, people enjoying their work, which is a little different than results. But anyway, I'm still working on this. This will be something I work on.
That's great.
Plans for growth, find or start a coaching mentorship group, probably find. Want to take this ICF certification by the end of 2024. I'm already certified as a guide with Giant. They have a new certification, 5 Voices for Teams, and they're making it kind of like a heavy duty, like one of a difficult certification. So I need to get certified in that. I want to read one leadership, personal development, or spiritual development book each month. I've ordered 2, so at least they'll be in the house. I want to tap into colleagues in Nashville for one-on-one professional support. I've got a lot of friends that will do this. I just need to make the time. I'm considering a confessional community with Kurt Thompson. I know he has those. I want to join a spiritual connection group of some kind. I do the that's 365 app, not one day. I don't do it a year. Practice of daily meditation and scripture and connection with friends, and then prioritize connection to husband. And that's just, we're empty nesters. It's something you have to work on when your kids aren't there, because everybody gets busy and you see each other every day, but it's not, make sure I prioritize that. Oh, that is not supposed to be there. All right, legacy statement. So this is mine. I'm dedicated to supporting and empowering leaders and organizations, guiding them through tough decisions and challenges with courage and integrity. My care for their welfare and my ability to inspire others drives me to help clients unlock their potential and achieve excellence. Through my passion and commitment, I will leave a lasting impact on others' growth, resilience, and success. The unique legacy I choose to live out each day is intentionality, compassion, and unwavering commitment to God's purposes. And I had written a mission statement back in 2006 as part of something I was in. And it was interesting. I pulled that back out, and that was so interesting to see. Like I have definitely grown, but I am the same person. I've just grown. It was more strategy, leadership, visionary, but it was all about moving people towards their relationship with Christ and having them be the best they can be. So it's kind of cool. Thank you, fellow classmates, my husband, my friends and colleagues, my kids, and the Townsend Institute folks. It's accumulating everybody, and then I have my resources. So that is it.
Yay. Nicely done, Christy.
All right.
Great. That was great.
Can you talk a little bit more about this leaning towards coaching versus consulting? It sounds like you started out thinking you were going to focus on consulting, and you're actually, even that framework you had, it looked like all of those things are going to come out of coaching. I mean, they could come out of either, but it sounded like that's where you were hitting. Can you talk about
Yeah,
that?
well, the theory of change is specifically for coaching, because I needed that to help me. I mean, consulting is a piece of cake for me. I mean, it's just not that hard. I mean, somebody wants a strategic plan, I can map that out or do a deep dive. But there's a couple things. I think number one, I'm seeing how the value of sort of having it start and stop coaching. If I have good boundaries and I've structured it the right way, it's actually less of an energy drain that I thought it would be. I thought it would be such of an energy drain because I thought I was responsible for the outcome. So yeah, which would cause you to have that. So I think it's a shift towards, by the time I got to Patty's How to Start a Business, I was like, maybe 25% of my business would be coaching. I'm probably going to end up more 50-50, I think. I really do. And, long term, after I don't want to be in heavy duty projects, this is definitely something that's easier to just, it's
Mm.
one-to-one. It's less red tape. I am coaching 4 leaders in one organization, and I got a whole package with that. And it included a training for the whole leadership team, coaching for these 4 leaders, and sort of a wraparound, kind of like the stuff we talked about. But yeah, I mean, I think I have to be careful because if there's a lot of emotion in it, for me, I have to just have that. I have to have time to to back that out for me. That's hard for me. Like, one day I had a client who cried, a lot, and it was okay, but that's, just a lot of feelings. Then I had lunch with my mom, who's a very highly emotional person. And then I had two other clients in the afternoon and they both cried. I was like, by the end of the day, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my God. So, but yeah,
When it
no, I like,
rains, it pours.
yeah. I'm like, yeah, I got empathy, but it's not, it's not endless. So
Yes. Oh my goodness.
thanks
Wow.
for the question. Lisa, you have any questions?
No, I loved your coaching theory of change. I actually screenshot that. I'm like, wow, that's pretty
I can
cool.
send it to you. I mean, it helps me in conversation. Like, well, that's why people do theories of change for their strategic planning and then for their marketing. They take it for strategic planning, they use it in fundraising or whatever. You got to explain like what do we really want, what are we trying to get here? So
Thank you.
yeah.
Well,
All
you both I'm honored that you invited me to be a part of this. I consider you two of the superstars in class.
right.
And I was like, I told Jennifer, I'm like, they had invited me.
I was looking, I knew yours would have a video. I was actually looking for a song from you. So
So I have a little background music, but you guys have learned a lot from reading your post and just your presentation. You're always like on it. So appreciate you both. And I said, well, hey man, they must like something about me. They invited me out of all the other people.
Absolutely. And we